Hi, my name is Stencil. I'm a candidate for the 86th Assembly. I have also served as chair for the Marathon County Democratic Party, and I currently serve as secretary for the Marathon County Central Labor Council. And the title of what I want to talk about today is that Wisconsin legislators should no longer serve two masters. You know, in 1973, Wisconsin enacted a code of ethics, which allowed for legislators to hold a second job. Because in 1973, legislators only earned $8,400 a year, oftentimes making it necessary to have a second job to support a family. Well, today's legislators make $51,000 a year for base salary. You know, the household median in the last 4 years has been roughly $54,000 in the state of Wisconsin. You know, and Wisconsin is one of 10 states that has full-time legislators. These representatives are paid $51,000 a year, plus a per diem that pays an extra several $1,000s a year. According to USA Today, most assembly legislators could claim up to $157 a night for lodging if they stayed in Madison overnight, and $78.50 for a day visit. Senators could claim up to $115 a day. Legislators are not required to log their lodging or other travel expenses in order to claim these per diems. They submit a slip or a form that indicates they were in Madison that day, and they are paid. Wisconsin's 132 legislators collected more than $1.3 million in daily travel allowances in 2017. Wisconsin no longer needs to, or should they allow legislators to serve two masters? Why? Because it's too easy for a legislator to serve his outside master first, while ignoring the best interests of his constituency. For example, take John Spiros, assemblyperson from the 86th Assembly District. Spiros is the vice president of claims for one of the largest trucking firms in the United States. This transport company is so large that it sought to become, and did, become self-insured under Wisconsin's workers' compensation claim system. That means that every dollar paid to an injured worker comes directly out of the company's own pocket. And I believe you can see where I'm going with this. In 2015, Spiros ran end around the Workers' Compensation Advisory Council, and he introduced his own horrendous bill, AB 501. Now, as you may or may not know, Wisconsin was not only the birthplace of unions, but it was also the birthplace of workers' compensation. If passed, his law would have reduced the statute of limitations for injured workers by over 80%. Far worse, it would have introduced the concept of fault into Wisconsin's century-old no-fault system. And it would have deprived workers of compensation, including death benefits to spouse, to children, if the employer could show that the worker was even partially at fault for the accident that caused the worker's injury. What would happen to those folks who were denied workers' comp benefits under Spiros' scheme? They and their families would likely become part of relying on the state, relying on welfare, needing badger care for their medical needs. Some would undoubtedly face foreclosure on their homes or on their vehicles that they could no longer afford to pay for while injured and unable to work, and with little or no workers' compensation to help them while they recovered. Now, did John Spiros really think that workers' fault scheme would be a good thing for Wisconsin? Would it be a good thing for citizens and its workers, or was his outside master really being the one served best by Spiros' proposal? If a bill was introduced and it was good for trucking companies, but not so good for citizens of this state, how would Spiros, a man with two masters, vote? We should not have to find out. Now it's the time for Wisconsin's full-time legislators to pick one master and one master only, the state of Wisconsin, and the best interest of every citizen in that district. The real and potential conflicts created by special interests, such as outside employers, disappear because they are no longer a part of the game, no longer a master to be obeyed. When elected, I will introduce and fight for such a law, because common sense and common fair play demand no less. The time for change is now, and the reasons are all too clear.